Okay, if you really want to talk about power, engineering, and just pure ambition in the ancient world, we need to talk about King Nebuchadnezzar II.
Absolutely. He's the ruler who took Babylon and turned it into, well, probably the largest and most advanced city on the planet at the time.
We're talking about a capital that basically defined what a modern city could be, but, 2,600 years ago.
And that's our goal today, right? To get past the name and really unpack the how and the why.
Exactly. Who was this guy? How did he get the money and power to do all this? And why is this one gate, the Ishtar Gate, still so famous?
So let's start with the king himself, Nebuchadnezzar II. He takes the throne around 605 BCE and rules for more than 40 years.
And he wasn't just some guy who inherited a peaceful kingdom. He had to build it, to forge it. He immediately makes a name for himself as a brilliant military commander.
Right. His whole reign kicks off with this massive military expansion, and it's all fueled by these really smart strategic victories.
The big one being the Battle of Carchemish.
That's the one. He defeats the Egyptian army, and that's not just a small win. That's the moment the Neo-Babylonian Empire gets control of the vital trade route.
Control of the trade routes means wealth.
And wealth means you can build things, big things.
And then there's his most famous campaign, maybe infamous is the better word, against the kingdom of Judah. He captures Jerusalem twice.
Yeah, and that second time leads to the destruction of the temple and the mass exile of the population, the Babylonian captivity. It was a huge power play.
And here's where we see that direct link you were talking about. Conquest equals construction.
Exactly. He didn't just want their money. He wanted their resources, their materials, and especially their laborers, skilled and unskilled.
And all of that gets funneled straight back to Babylon for his building projects.
It's one of the earliest and maybe one of the most sophisticated examples of a state using military expansion to fund, well, massive urban renewal.
He wasn't just building, though. He was building a legacy. He wanted everyone, for all time, to know who did this.
Which is just incredible. He had his name literally stamped onto the bricks.
Wait, on the actual bricks?
On the actual bricks. It was his signature, telling everyone for thousands of years, I built this. Such a personal, permanent statement.
So let's talk about the city he built, this war-funded mega project. Under him, Babylon becomes the center of the world, really.
Culturally, commercially, everything. And it was designed with such incredible foresight. It was meant to impress, to be defended, and to just work.
The efficiency part is what gets me. Most ancient cities just kind of grow organically.
Right. But Nebuchadnezzar planned it. He used a grid-like pattern. That sounds so modern, but it required massive logistical planning.
So easier to get around, easier to administer, easier to move troops.
Exactly. Now, about those defenses, this is why people wrote about Babylon with such awe. It had a double wall system.
And these weren't just walls. These were structures so massive that the city was considered basically unconquerable.
The scale is just staggering. They were so wide that chariots could pass each other on top.
So they were like elevated highways for defense.
A perfect way to describe it. It turned the whole city into a fortress.
And having the Euphrates River flow right through the middle was no accident.
Not at all. It was the city's lifeline. It provided all the water they needed, which meant they could survive any siege. A massive tactical advantage.
Okay, so from these giant walls, let's zoom in on the main entrance, the Ishtar Gate.
Built around 575 BCE, this was the eighth and the most important gate into the inner city, the real heart of the empire.
And it really had a dual purpose, didn't it? It was intimidating for sure, but also beautiful.
Absolutely. It was a defensive structure, first and foremost, but it was also a massive religious monument to the goddess Ishtar.
Ishtar being the goddess of
love and war. The perfect combination for this kind of statement. The gate was designed to be this overwhelming reminder of the king's power and his divine backing.
And the road leading up to it, the processional way, was designed to amplify that feeling.
It was more than a road. It was one of history's first great ceremonial avenues. We're talking over 26 feet wide, paved with huge slabs of limestone.
And that red stone.
Red breccia, right. And that's significant because breccia wasn't a local stone. They had to import it.
So even the road itself was a display of wealth and power.
Every single part of it was.
Yeah.
It was all designed to fill you with this sense of awe as you walk toward the center of the empire.
Okay, we have to talk about the color. When you see reconstructions of the Ishtar Gate, the first thing that hits you is that incredible dazzling blue.
And that blue is where the engineering just gets next level. It wasn't paint.
Right. It was a glaze.
A special colorful glaze the Babylonians perfected. It protected the bricks from the weather. And that blue color came from cobalt.
Cobalt was super rare and expensive back then, right?
Extremely. Using it on this scale was like, I don't know, covering your main gate in gold leaf today.
Yeah.
It was a massive statement of wealth.
So how did they do it? How did they make these bricks?
Well, it was a really high-tech process. Each brick was molded by hand, fired in a kiln at a very high temperature. Then the glaze was applied in layers, and then it was fired again.
To get that shiny glass-like surface.
Exactly. That final heating process, vitrification, made it incredibly durable, resistant to sand, water, you name it. It was built to last.
And they used top-of-the-line materials for everything else, too.
Oh, yeah. For the mortar, they used bitumen.
Which is basically natural asphalt.
Right. And it's an amazing waterproofing agent. So in a city with a river running through it, that's a brilliant move. It protected the walls from moisture damage.
And the doors and roof.
Massive cedar logs imported all the way from the forests of Lebanon. I mean, the logistics and cost of that alone are mind-boggling.
But the real story is in the animals covering the gate. These molded brick figures that pop out in 3D.
And there's something like 575 animal figures on the gate itself. And none of them are random. They all have a very specific meaning.
Okay, so let's break them down. First, you have the dragons.
The Surush. These mythological, scaly dragons. They were the sacred animal of Marduk, the supreme god of Babylon.
So, walking toward the gate, you immediately see the symbol of the most powerful god.
Reinforcing the king's divine authority. Then you have the bulls,
representing a dad, the god of weather and rain.
which connects the city's power to agriculture and survival. The king provides everything.
And lining the processional way, you have the lions. 60 of them.
The lions were the symbol of the goddess Ishtar herself. Fierce, powerful, protective. So the whole walk was like moving through a gallery of divine power.
This gate wasn't just a static piece of art either. It was the centerpiece for the biggest festival of the year.
The Akitu Festival, the Babylonian New Year, a 12-day celebration.
And during the festival, they would carry statues of the gods through the Ishtar gate and down the processional way.
It was a massive public spectacle. And at the center of it was the king, who had to perform these rituals to prove he was still worthy to rule. It reinforced his power every single year.
We can't talk about Nebuchadnezzar without mentioning the one thing that might not have even been there. The Hanging Gardens.
Ah, yes. One of the 7 wonders of the ancient world and one of history's biggest debates. Did they exist? And if so, where?
The story goes that he built them for his wife, who missed the green mountains of her home.
A very romantic story. But whether they were in Babylon or somewhere else, like Nineveh, just think about the engineering that would have been required.
You're talking about building a man-made mountain of gardens in the middle of a hot, dry plain.
And you'd have to get water up to the top continuously. It would have required an incredibly complex system of pumps and pipes to lift water from the Euphrates all the way up.
An unparalleled feat of hydraulic engineering.
The story alone just shows the kind of limitless power and resources people believe Nebuchadnezzar had at his command.
But no empire lasts forever. After he died in 562 BCE, things started to go downhill pretty fast.
His successors just didn't have his strength or vision. There was a lot of internal conflict. The empire weakened.
And then, in 539 BCE, along comes the Persian king, Cyrus the Great.
And Cyrus doesn't even try to attack the city's massive walls. He comes up with an absolutely brilliant strategy.
He diverts the Euphrates River.
He does. He diverts the water upstream, which lowered the water level flowing through the city.
Which let his army just walk in.
Walk right in under the fortifications through the now shallow riverbed. Babylon was captured without a major fight, an engineering solution to an engineering problem.
Wow. And after that, the city just kind of faded away.
It lost its status. Eventually, it was abandoned, and the desert sands just buried everything.
And it stayed buried, becoming almost a myth until the late 19th century.
Right. And then a German archaeologist, Robert Koldewey, starts this massive excavation in 1899. It took him 18 years.
18 years. And he found the foundations of the palaces, and most importantly, thousands of pieces of the Ishtar gate.
Just imagine that. Thousands of fragments of these fragile blue-glazed bricks. They had to document and ship every single one all the way to Berlin.
So they had to solve the world's oldest, most complicated jigsaw puzzle.
That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
And the result is that stunning reconstruction you can see today in the Pergamon Museum in Berlin.
It's about 47 feet tall and 100 feet wide, and even that is smaller than the original.
It really is an incredible testament to their skill. Nebuchadnezzar wanted his legacy to be permanent.
And the fact that we can still see the original color and detail on those bricks today means, in a way, he succeeded.
It really shows that the most powerful leaders in history aren't just military geniuses, they're masters of logistics and engineering. They literally changed the world around them.
And what's amazing is that the very thing that made the city so strong, its engineering, was also its downfall. It was out-engineered.
It shows that mastery of your environment, especially water, can be the ultimate source of power. It was true in 600 BCE, and you could argue it's still true today.
A great point to end on. Good luck with your studies.